Hello, how are we?
Very good, mate. How are you?
I'm all right, sir. Helps if I have my microphone near my face, otherwise you won't hear a word I'm saying.
Does help.
Usually.
Does help.
Another week in the sporting world has passed us by.
Don't even know where to start with this week.
Well, there were only 4 matches yesterday, wasn't there?
Well, if I'm totally honest, I haven't. I know this will shock everybody, but I haven't watched them all.
Shock horror. I only
Well,
watched
if I'm
them on
totally
highlights
honest,
every
right, the last game I watched was Villa Brentford, which I think was Wednesday night.
Yeah, something like that.
So that's where I'm up to.
So you've missed everything from yesterday.
I haven't watched. Well, I've watched United, obviously. I haven't seen Palace. I haven't seen Brentford Newcastle, and I haven't seen Villa Southampton.
Good, so you're well prepared as always. Nice to see.
Yeah, so I've got no idea what's going on.
Well, start with what you do know then. United are bad.
Well, I did say this, didn't I? Second, the manager wouldn't change anything. I tried to warn them.
But you also did say that everything would be now quite exciting, and you're not wrong. I mean, it's not dull to watch.
As a neutral, we are now probably one of the best games to watch. Not the best teams to watch, but one of the best games to watch.
Yeah, because you can't defend for love nor money, but yet you can attack all of a sudden.
Yeah, we can. We don't like set pieces. We don't like anything in our box at all. But yeah, we seem to throw hell to leather and go for it. It's exciting if you're not a Man United fan. If you're a Man United fan, it's fucking infuriating. But still got the same idiots playing for him as the previous manager and the manager before that and the manager before that.
But have you seen the breaking news this morning?
Well, it was this evening for me. But yes, Dan Ashworth's gone, hasn't he?
Yeah, so that's lasted 5 months. This new team that Ineos were going to put in and build and
which I think is probably a damning incitement of where United are at the minute, because he's gone in there. It's like when you take any job and you go in there, you get sold the dream, and then you get in there and realise that it's nowhere near as good as they think it is. And he's probably gone in there and looked at it and thought, "Fuck that! You can't pay me enough to carry this job out," and decided to back it in. I mean, they haven't said why he's left. It could be a totally different reason. It could be family reasons. It could be health. It could be anything. Couldn't it? They haven't said. I don't think yet. But I would probably think he's looked at it and thought, "Fuck that." That is not for me.
I think if it had been family reasons or anything personal, they'd have come out and said that straight away to stop any speculation. Where they haven't, they've just said he's gone. So he's thought, I've had enough of this already.
He's gone because he's looked at that job and thought, "Yeah, I ain't man enough for this task, mate.
I don't want this.
Why would I want to be paid this much to work here when I can be paid probably 10% less and go and work at a club that's got 50% less work for me?"
And also the money that you spent to get him out of Newcastle. That's another waste of God knows how many millions.
Again, I mean, I'm guessing that he'll have to forfeit something if it's in his contract. But again, just money after money, innit? Wasted money. We've spent 14 million getting rid of Ten Hag. We've spent 10 million getting in the new manager, and we spend 10 million to get him out of Newcastle, or 8 million to get him out of Newcastle at the end. So we've blown about 30 million in the last 5 months on 3 people. Still got the same 11 players running on the pitch.
Very little.
Well, it won't do, because he's still got the same 11 people running around the pitch, hasn't he? Doing the same job. So what does he expect to change?
But parts of it look better. Ahmad looks really good. Fernandes had a reasonably decent game.
There was obviously a problem there between the two. I don't know what the problem was, and there was obviously became a problem, and he didn't play. We've got some very good players.
You know, one thing you don't have? A very good goalkeeper, because what the hell is that?
I mean, there was a tweet the other day saying Onana is now the best goalkeeper in the world, and then he goes and does that. But both goals, what? If that's Peter Schmeichel on that second goal when it goes in the far post, he just comes and clatters everything, takes it out, and clears the ball. He sort of.
But that one I blame more Martinez for, to be fair.
Leave it to everybody else. If you're a goalkeeper, just get it out, clear it away. Why is that even? Don't leave it to anybody else. It's in your 6-yard box. It's your domain. Go and clear it. But the third one, I don't know what's happening. I mean, it's reminiscent of David De Gea, isn't it? In 2-3 years ago, what he were up to. Yeah, I thought, against Everton, we looked very open early on, and then I thought once we scored, we looked like the team that Amorim wants us to be. We were very high pressing, controlled the game, and there was only one winner. Arsenal's a different game, innit? I mean, let's be honest. Arsenal, anything can happen. You know, two corner
Arsenal,
goals.
to be fair, you go into that probably expecting to lose. They finished second in the last
And
2
if you get a
seasons.
draw, you're happy.
They're much further
I
down
just
their
don't
line
get
of
the Forest
progression than
result.
you are. So losing that game wasn't,
No,
you know,
the Forest
it's one
result
of
for
them
me,
things.
I just don't get it. And you can't look any further than the people that are running around the pitch or not running around the pitch, as the problem turns out to be, as the problem. And it's the same people causing the problems time and time again. They're just not good enough.
And defensively, you're not good enough. You brought in Delete, you brought in Martinez, you brought in Mazraoui, you brought in Zorro,
Yeah.
somebody. He's, granted, he's only just coming back to fitness, but they don't look settled, they don't look stable, they don't look secure, they don't look solid. It all just looks a bit helter-skelter from midfield backwards.
The new tactic at the moment is just playing hell with everybody because they weren't good in their old tactics that they understood. So now we're at a level where we've got players that aren't at the top of the game adjusted to a tactic that most of them have probably never played or very rarely played. So right now it is just, yeah. I mean, we conceded after a minute and a half in the first half and just over a minute and a half in the second half. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just pure poor organisation, just not being ready at the start of a half. You can't get away from that. But you can't blame the manager for this. You can't blame Ten Hag for some of the stuff they did under him. I mean, we played West Ham in the last game under Ten Hag. We absolutely battered them. Is it Ten Hag's fault that they didn't put ball in net? It's not, is it?
No.
Just like, it's not Amorim's fault that Onana falls to his right when the ball goes to his left. I mean, what can the manager do about that? Absolutely nothing. And without
The only
that,
thing
all
I'd
right,
do
we only
is
get a
sack
point.
him.
But at 2-2, there's a good chance you probably go on and win it. But it's not. You're 3-2 down, aren't you?
Yeah.
Because of a stupid error from the goalkeeper. So, we can blame the managers all we want, but it's the 11 lads running around the pitch that are the problem.
Yeah. But from the other 3 games that happened yesterday, there was a running theme when I watched it this morning. Newcastle were awful at the back. City were awful at the back. You were awful at the back. And Southampton need to learn quickly.
They're not going to learn. Southampton aren't going to learn because they've got an arrogant manager. I mean, all managers are pretty arrogant, aren't they? That's just the way they're bred. But he's exactly the same, as in, this is my way of doing it. This is how I'm doing it, and I'm not changing.
I mean, they only ended up losing 1-0 to Aston Villa, but they changed the goalkeeper. I think it's Lumley that played yesterday, and he played a ball from about 3 yards out from his own net to the penalty spot. Funnily enough, they lost the ball again. Granted, this one doesn't lead to a goal, but only by sheer fluke that it doesn't. It was ready to destroy my TV in pure anger of another goalkeeper.
Was that the game that
forward
was
into his
on
own net.
Was that the game that you had?
No, I watched it on the highlights this morning.
So what was your Sky game then?
It wasn't. It was postponed because it was Liverpool
It was Everton,
at dinner
Liverpool,
time.
I wonder why it didn't look like there'd been enough games.
Yeah, so obviously the Merseyside derby were called off because the UK is currently being battered by a ridiculous storm that's raged on for 3 days.
Good old English weather, eh?
Yeah, Storm Darragh, I think it is, and yeah, it weren't safe for Liverpool game to go ahead at all, which caused utter meltdowns on the internet of, it's a conspiracy to save Liverpool because they've got injuries, blah, 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 blah. No, it was just biblically
Who gives
bad.
these people the ability to write, type, and think? Just take social media. Just ridiculous, isn't it? How is it? I mean, I hate Liverpool, but how is it a conspiracy to help Liverpool that a storm's rocked up? I mean, are the FA now planting storms?
Yep.
Is that what we're saying? They're not
Apparently.
only planting referees in games to help people out, they're now planting storms perfectly timed to call off the Liverpool-Everton game.
Yes.
I mean,
that's the world we now live in, apparently.
letting these people speak. They need neutralising, don't they? All of them. Absolutely.
But then I suppose going back, I mean, I said yesterday's games, City, you've not seen it, City Crystal Palace, Lewis gets sent off.
I saw the Palace goal because it was an early goal, wasn't it?
Reasonably, yeah. But so Lewis gets booked for Man City for dissent. Fine, not a problem. You know, he does have a go at referee. The second one is just pathetic. And I mean, absolutely pathetic. If anything, it's a penalty to Man City. So he goes in for a tackle in the Crystal Palace box, misses, and the defender stands on his foot. Defender throws himself on floor like he's been shot.
Like they do.
Lewis kind of hobbles away because he has been caught, and referee says free kick and a second yellow. But apparently VAR couldn't get involved. It was a second yellow. But to me, VAR could because it was a challenge in the area and could have potentially been a penalty. But didn't understand the whole concept of what happened, if I'm completely honest. But yeah, but
so
there's no way he can miss it off.
VAR could have given the penalty, but they can't rescind the second yellow. That's basically
But
how
if
it
they'd have
works.
given the penalty, it rescinds the second yellow because it's not a foul in the opposite way.
No,
So they would have to
can't
rescind
do
it.
that, can they?
But yeah.
Can't. No, VAR can't.
So they'd have to give a penalty to Man City and a red card to Lewis.
Send him off. Yeah, basically. All VAR can do is say whether it's a penalty or not. They can't then get involved in what is done before because it's a second yellow, is what they're saying. This is just stupid. I mean, VAR, what's the point? Why would you create a system and then create a limitation to the system? If a guy gets sent off, it should be reviewed by VAR, whether it's a second yellow, a third yellow, straight red, whatever it is, it should be reviewed because it's a game-changing decision. Why create VAR and then say, well, we won't get involved in second yellows that equate to a red? Well, you need to, because the decisions need to be right, because that player's now got to leave the pitch and a team's going to be disadvantaged because of a stupid refereeing decision. He obviously needs help.
And he will also now be banned for a game, and you can't appeal it because it's a second yellow. And it's not even a free kick. He's the one that gets kicked. But because the defender literally throws himself up in air and on floor, referee just goes on the reaction of the player and sends him second yellow and sends him off.
But again, like we've said before send him off, why not go over to the monitor and have a look at it?
Not allowed because it's for a yellow card, not a red.
But just say I'm thinking of sending him off. I'm thinking of sending him off. I need to look at this. Just do anything. Just don't be so stupid and naive to just brandish a card. Go and look. They've got a fucking screen 50 foot away that they can tell them everything they're supposed to need to know, and yet they'll just guess. It's absolutely just morons, isn't it? It's just lunatics running the asylum again.
Yeah, I mean, it was really bad. It's not even close to being. It's not even a foul. He doesn't tackle him. He doesn't touch him. He's the one that gets kicked and he gets sent off.
What's Pep said? Because they only drew, didn't they?
I haven't seen it, to be fair. I've
not too busy arguing with Mourinho still. I think Mourinho's got under his skin a little bit, hasn't he?
I think everything's under Pep's skin right now because he's having a bad time of life. He's won once in 8 now. So yeah,
so he beat Forest last weekend, didn't he? Which Man United couldn't do.
Yes. But then Forest also beat Liverpool, so they're a strange side.
Forest have been going well, though, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've been going well. I mean, I don't know how, but they have. They've been going real. I mean, they're 5th now, and like properly 5th, with not many teams can jump them, I don't think. This is, crazy. But yeah, they're going well. Like I said, the way forward is just to go out and spend £1 billion on players, spend 2 years trying to put them all together, and then suddenly it'll come good for you. Because Forest was bigger car crash as Chelsea, and now one's 2nd and one's 5th.
Yep.
And
so eventually it pays off.
They've probably done most of the transfers in the UK in the last 2 years. Probably 80% have been either.
Oh yeah, and they own about 70% of footballers in the world currently. Between the two
and they
clubs.
Don't know any of the names. Just neither do any Chelsea fans.
But Newcastle didn't look great as well either. They were poor.
I saw Eddie Howe's interview. He looked a bit. For the first time I've watched Eddie Howe and thought, you need a holiday, mate. He looked a bit pale, a bit fed up, a bit. Yeah.
I think the Newcastle project is beginning to falter. It's beginning to stutter. They don't have the money to spend that they expected.
Because they came in as the richest people in the world, but then suddenly all these financial rules changed, and suddenly being the richest people in the world is totally fucking irrelevant because you can only put in what you can generate. You can only spend what you can generate. So, which is good. I don't disagree with it at all. But it's unfair in a sense because Man City have been able to just do what they want for the last 10 years, spend as much as they want, put as much money into the club as they want by any means possible. And now the rules change at the drop of a hat. And people that have just bought a club are now looking at it thinking, well, if I'd have known that, probably wouldn't have fucking bothered because I can't do what I want to do. It's the rules they seem to have just been changed overnight and it's screwed over these people. I mean, I don't care either way, but it just seems a bit of an odd thing to just drop on people. And now all these people with all this money can't do anything. I mean, none of them should be owned by these people for a start. It should all be not allowed, but that's just the way football's gone now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's just politics that'll never change. But yeah, the Newcastle project's on the verge of flatlining, I think. I think Eddie Howe's run out of ideas. Defensively, they looked poor.
What can they do now? Any different to any other club?
Nothing.
The only thing they can do is work in the background to generate more income so they can spend more money, pay higher wages. They've got to almost grow the club across the world, haven't they?
Yes.
Old school style, basically. How Man United did when Fergie came in. You know, how Chelsea did under Mourinho and go global to bring in more money to then balance the books a different way. They can't just ring some guy up in Saudi Arabia or wherever he's from and ask him for 100 million quid because they're not allowed anymore.
No, but it's
unless you're Man City, then you just do what you want.
The problem with that is though, yes, you're right. It probably is a better system, but it's now just protecting the people that have been able to do it for 20
That's what I'm
years.
saying. It's just wrong,
So,
isn't it? Because
yeah.
all they've done now is protecting all the teams at the top have been doing it or are now in a position of power. And none of the other teams can catch up because they haven't been given the same ability to do it. So it's just protected the cash people at the top of the club, the Premier League, isn't it?
Yeah, and it always will do because I think it's the power of the big six, isn't it? It's what they will always do. It's what they will always have. It's what they've always had.
We know what it won't protect. Luke Shaw.
Funnily enough, he was my next on my list.
Who's now injured again?
Yep. What, did he play twice?
Didn't even start, did he? I don't think. I think he might have started the game the other day. I mean, is this just a total comedy joke now? Is this just a piss take or what? How is this man injured again? How can you get injured by doing nothing?
I mean, I saw a stat. He's now been injured for 4.5 years of his career. That's
unbelievable. He's been at United 10 years. I think he spent 3 years injured, hasn't he? I think I sent you a stat into this and missed 300 and something games.
Yeah. He says now, for the length of his career now, so if he's had a 12, 13-year career, let's say, he spent a quarter of it injured.
No,
it's not bad going, that, is it? To be fair.
Third of it injured, isn't he?
I mean, if I didn't turn up for work 33% of the time, I probably wouldn't have a job.
Well, 3 days you wouldn't have a job if you didn't turn up. Why has this man still got a job? Because he's obviously not fit for purpose, is he?
No.
But to be fair, just like Phil Jones weren't fit for purpose, who the fuck is getting him a contract? Who's writing him a contract out? His agent must be fucking Houdini because he keeps getting him a brand new contract, and the guy can't even play football. I'll bet $1 million that Phil Jones has got the same agent as Luke Shaw because he is some agent. He can negotiate my next contract when I start work.
What's actually wrong with him this time?
We don't know. I've stopped even reading it because I get to the point where I just think, is he just lying now? Has he just got to the point where he thinks, I'm coming up to being 30, I must be 30, I'll just keep lying and getting paid. I don't even need to get fit anymore. Yeah.
These idiots will pay me regardless, so I'll just tell them I'm injured.
He broke his leg 6 years ago. You can't say that. That's fine. I understand that he got a really bad injury and these injuries may result from it. But why are we still employing him? That's my problem. Why have we still employed this man? Because he can't physically play. Why did we sell a young left back to Spain or wherever he went and keep these two people who neither of them are fit ever, Malacia and Shaw, who can't play? It's madness. Someone did that, honestly.
But wouldn't he have been part of some of those decisions? No, because he's only been here 5 months, so no, he wouldn't have been.
5 months on it. I can't imagine
his dad had anything to do with these.
He probably looked at it and thought, why have we got these people at our club? If I can't get these out, what's the point of me being here? I mean, I think the biggest concern this week is that he's left. And I hope it comes out that there's another reason why he's left. Because if he's left for footballing reasons, that's a damning incitement of where we're at the minute.
I think genuinely now, I mean, it's been said for quite a while, the club is in serious turmoil. There is serious backroom issues within that club that are not clearly public knowledge, but there's some poison and some rot in that club somewhere. It's trying to figure out who the poison and the rot is.
What I was saying to you 5-6 weeks ago, when everyone's saying get Ten Hag out because that'll change things. I'm not saying Ten Hag should have stayed or should have gone. All I'm saying is it won't change a thing. So why spend the money? Why spend 14 million to get him out, 10 million to get another guy in to change nothing? Because the problems are not the man dictating the team. It's everyone else dictating to the man who's picking the team what they should be doing. That's the problem. They're bringing in players that he doesn't want. They're paying players money that they shouldn't be getting paid. They're giving them contracts they don't deserve. There's people getting paid money at the club, like Sir Alex Ferguson, was still getting paid, what, 2 million a year? Why was that happening? With all due respect to Fergie, that shouldn't have been happening. We shouldn't be paying him money that should be coming. We're putting tickets up, prices of tickets up for fans, and we're paying people like Fergie, still paying them £2 million a year. To do what? You know,
be an
there
ambassador.
becomes a time where a loyalty payment is well past its sell-by date. We're 12 years after he left now, and he's been claiming £2 million a year. I mean,
but in that time, he's probably still played more than Luke Shaw.
Well, he probably could play more than Luke Shaw as well still now. You know, and that's one we know of. How many more of these are there? Of
Christ
people
knows.
picking up a pay packet, people getting paid, you know, stupid amounts of money that is being funded by the fans. That's who funds it every time. And we're going nowhere. If we were winning, you wouldn't mind, would you? If Man City were still paying a manager that had spent 25 years at their club 2 million and they're winning league every season, you think, well, it don't matter, does it? Because it works. But as soon as it stops working, you have to make a change. You know, the perfect definition of an idiot is to just keep repeating the same thing and failing, and that's all we're doing. Sack a manager, pay a load of players too much money, put them on stupid long contracts, fail, sack a manager, start again. We're going nowhere. So sacking Ten Hag won't change anything. I'm not very often right, but I do predict that I'm going to be very, very right on this occasion.
There we go. There's got a broken clock's right twice a day, so this is your
This is my
one
time
for
to
the
shine.
year. Time to get something right in life.
Yes. One other thing. Should we not do away with away goals now? Are we not at a point in the world in life where away goals are totally pointless?
Where have you been for the last 10 years? They don't exist.
What do you mean they don't exist?
Away goals hasn't been a thing for years.
Sorry, own goals. It's like the Pub World Cup all over again. It's all gone wrong. That's away goals. Man United don't score any away goals, so we can't do away with them. Own goals. Is it just like a thing that we don't no longer need? They pay a guy to analyse each goal to see whether the player intended to score. I mean, obviously, he must have intended to score to have a shot. And whether it was going in, to then decide whether they give it to a defender who's put it in the back of his own net or the striker who hit it. Can't we just do away with this and just give it to the guy who shot?
Yeah, just go to the ice hockey method. The last attacking player that touched the puck gets the goal.
Why do we even care? It doesn't benefit anybody, the rule, does it?
No.
There's no legitimate way you can look at it and think, right, but if this happened, then that's why the rule's there. There's no legitimate way I can think of why an own goal is of use to anyone.
I suppose it would skew some people's goal scoring stats because they'd have potentially an extra 5 or 6 goals in their career that they technically didn't score, but who cares?
You know, it's like, it's just ridiculous. Just another rule. I just saw one the other day and I thought, why? They're going to have to refer it to the goals panel. And I thought, we're paying some people here to check these goals.
The dubious goals panel.
That's the one. Just give it to the guy who had a shot and let's sack these fuckers and not pay him anymore.
That is kind of typical FA, isn't it? We're paying somebody probably a lot of money.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Man United aren't paying the dubious goals panel because they're probably on our payroll. They'll have a 5-year deal. But, Jed, why is that thing again? Why do we just create stupid ideas? But once again, maybe 20 years ago it was a thing, but can we not do? I mean, we've actually employed somebody. You know, when you look at it and think, would it be easier to employ someone to look at own goals, or would it just be easier to do away with them? We'll just do away with them.
Well, yeah, 'cause it'd be cheaper as well and faster.
Cheaper, faster. No one actually cares.
No,
You know, no one's actually been given an own goal and gone, well, I deserved my own goal because I did put it in net. Have they?
I really wanted that one.
Just do away with it.
Yeah, you're right. I'd never really thought about it, to be honest, but you are completely right. It is the most
Watched it the other
pointless
day,
thing.
and he just did a commentator that pissed me off. He went, "We'll have to refer it to dubious goals panel," and I just thought, "What an idiot! What a stupid idea this is." There's a guy sat in a room somewhere checking this goal to see if it's their goal or not.
But it's a panel. So that means there could be multiple people doing it, which is even worse. Because that means we're deciding goals by committee.
Fucking
You sit there for a week and figure out what the angle of the ball was and the
It is
trajectory
literally.
and
It's
the
like
speed.
government, isn't it? You know, when you look and think, what does he do? What does that guy in government do? Is the assistant to the assistant to the assistant? What is the dubious goal panels? I mean, if there's no own goals, when do they work? They just
Good point.
they
That
just
is a
turn
very
up
good
every week and just if there's no own goals, do they just do 8 hours and go home?
point. Sit and have a coffee
No.
and call it a day.
Is it, is it just a 40-hour week if there's no own goals, but they work overtime if there's 5 and they have to work extra? I mean, what? How's this a thing?
Yeah.
I mean, is that his only job? Is that the only thing he does? When he does a CV, does he just put work for dubious goals panel? 3 own goals last season. That's all I did. I mean,
They might be on the dubious red cards panel as well, or whatever they review them of.
not sure.
But yeah,
Not sure why we've got them.
that's another one that can get in the bin. Be
I mean,
done
we've
away
cleaned
with.
up a lot of stuff on this podcast over the
We have.
18 episodes we've done. We've tidied up Man United. We've got rid of own goals. We've got rid of new Champions League format, new Club World Cup format. We cleared it all up.
Club World Cup. I'd made notes on it. The draw's been done. You'll be glad to know.
I thought it had been done. Oh, and the draw for the table.
Yes.
It's like the World Cup, isn't it? So there's groups.
Yes.
Is it enthralling?
Don't know, didn't look, didn't care. I just know the draw's been done.
I mean, I didn't even know it had been drawn. And I wouldn't
Yes,
have
it's been
looked.
drawn.
Had it been.
And some games will now happen.
I mean, there's a lot of people saying how good it's going to be. And I don't know. I can't imagine how or why.
It's not going to be good.
Which player is going to get to the end of the season and want to go and play in that?
Nobody.
Nobody. The only people that are going to want to probably play are any youngsters that are coming through and are going to get a chance to play in it. You know, if you've got, a young midfielder who's played 5 or 6 games at first team and you think, right, we'll take you with us and you can play. But in Sepp Blatter or the one, if it's Platini, I don't know which one it is, picking teams anyway. So
I'm going to say they can't do that because bold man Infantino,
that's him.
said they've got to take all of their best players.
But it's just going to be like Nations League where they'll all just pull out for injury.
Probably,
How
yeah.
are they going to, how is he? Is it Infantino? I don't know who you just said. How is he going to know whether they're injured or not? Is he going to have a team of people on the dubious injuries panel and we're going to have to review injuries now? Where did he get injured? When did he get injured?
How did they get injured?
Can I have a scan? The tournament's going to be delayed by 3 months while he does all this work.
It's just painful. It's just literally painful.
I mean, how many games is there in the World Cup? 60
48? Odd? No, 64, something like that. It's 40 odd teams now, isn't it? So it'd be 68.
So there's going to be this many games over the summer in a tournament that no one's going to watch.
Yep. So there'll be 32 teams in it. So I went on the FIFA website and literally, I mean, this is what it actually says. FIFA's new prime club competition, the FIFA World Cup, will grace the world stage in July 2025 when 32 of the globe's leading teams gather in the USA for the inaugural edition. This truly global event will bring together the most successful club sides from each 6 confederations. What a load of crap.
The 32 best teams in the world.
Apparently.
So we've got the 20 Premier League sides playing in it.
Nope.
3 Italian sides.
Nope.
2 Spanish sides. A couple of teams from Germany. I mean, they're the best teams in the world.
Yeah, but that's not a thing.
I mean, if there's anyone from the Americas side of football playing in it, then they're not any good because there's nobody over there as a club side any good at football at all. If there's anyone from my side of the world Australasia, Asia side, they're all crap as well. They haven't got a good football team among them. So if they're not coming from Europe, they're all shit. No one
And
wants
there's
to
quite a
come
lot of
through.
the Middle Eastern teams in it as well, and they're all terrible.
Well, there you go. And I wonder why. I wonder which clubs have got the most money. I wonder. Is it
Yeah,
URL? No, it's not URL Reds, is it? Oh no, it's all them from Saudi Arabian League. They've got billions and billions of pounds.
but yes, apparently in the 32 best teams in the world are Al Ahly FC, Wydad AC, and Al Hilal. Yeah, of course they are. Absolutely,
I mean,
Infantino. I completely agree with you.
does
Not.
he can't believe this. He can't go to bed at night thinking, I genuinely believe I've made the greatest tournament the world has ever seen. And I put a couple of Japanese sides in it.
Yeah, there is some Japanese teams in it, yeah, because they're in the best 32 teams in the world, apparently.
And there's an
Some Red
Australian
Dragons
team.
or somebody. I think they got knocked out by the Japanese contingent. So you didn't qualify. And Miami won the Supporters Charity Cup or something, so they got in it.
Fucking hell. He's like most improved player when you get it at the end of the season, isn't it? Oh, you're in. You got most improved player. You can come back somewhere and play. I mean,
It's
come on, lad.
just
Give us a
ridiculous.
break.
Yeah,
No.
32 teams, 64 games or whatever it is over 4
So,
weeks.
who's in it from England then?
Man City and Chelsea.
Chelsea are in because
They won the 2021 Champions League.
of course they did. I mean, that's 4 years after the event. I mean, talk about delaying the prize.
Oh, it's just all farcical.
The 2021 Champions League gets you into. I don't even know where to go.
No, I don't. And I literally don't care. The closest one to you is Auckland City FC, who got a
That's New
ranking
Zealand.
pathway, apparently. But yeah.
A ranking pathway. So they basically have left it as vague as possible so that they can put anyone they want in.
Well, he invited Miami. He literally rung them up and said,
Yeah, he did.
come in.
Invited them live on American TV.
Like, just
basically,
pathetic.
we got in because we got up at 7:02 and the other teams didn't get up at 7:05. So we were best up, first dressed. First up, best dressed, whichever way you want to put it. I mean, it's
farcical.
I understand that to make it a global tournament, you can't just put the best teams in the world because it would all just be European teams. But this is just ridiculous. I mean, don't even claim it to. I mean, don't play it, but don't even claim it to be the greatest tournament of all time.
Well, no, because that's the actual World Cup in a footballing sense. The biggest tournament in football is the actual World Cup, not the Club World Cup that you've just force-fed everybody and rammed a load of teams into it.
I mean, they've made the Champions League absolute waffle now, haven't they? I mean, that's still going on. I don't know when that's going to come to an end.
Are we even at the end of the group stage yet?
No, I don't think so. There's got to be at least 2 or 3 games left. At
least. Don't care. I have no interest in it at all. I can't get into it. I don't want to watch it. I don't care. So I've avoided it.
They're on BT Sport of this, and look, it's going to go down to the wire. And I'm like, but the top 5, 6, 7, 8 teams are through. They've been through since game 2. Once they've won 2 games, the guys at the bottom weren't going to catch them. They don't even have to spell their own team name. They might go out and win. It's like, it keeps it going right to the end because, what about that team in 20th that could get 21st? I'm like, but they're going to go out a week later anyway, so what's the fucking point? I think Real Madrid are shitting themselves because the team finishing 20th suddenly creep in.
Yeah, so looking at the league table, Liverpool have played 5, won 5. They are 5 points clear of Aston Villa in 9th, and there's only 9 points left, so they're through. Inter are through. And then you've got a billion teams in the middle of the table that'll all do a pre-qualifying something or other.
But what about them at the bottom? The thing is, the teams at the bottom that are playing to go into the pre, it's like, why are these teams fighting to get through just to go out a round later?
But to be fair, there's 5 rather big teams in that the middle 16 right now. So you've got Milan, Man City, Juventus, and Real Madrid are all in the pre-qualifying stage.
But they're going to go through, aren't they?
And Paris Saint-Germain are currently going out.
None of these they're not going to do, though.
Well, you wouldn't have thought so, but they are right now.
They'll just get enough points. I mean, this is what I'm saying. Man United didn't win one of the first 3 games, and we'll still end up going through because it's almost impossible not to.
You're now 12th. Well done.
Exactly. That's what I mean. We won 1, and we're 12th. 1.
No, you've won 2 now. You've won 2.
Oh yeah, because Van Nistelrooy won 1, didn't he?
Yeah, you've won 2, drawn 3. You're 9th, a point off 6th.
See what I mean? I mean, it's got to be like that's bottom of the table. That's bottom end of the table form, and we're technically almost top 6. We'll play the next week.
It's just crap. It's
I just don't
absolutely
understand why it's
woefully
good.
bad.
So, I mean, Liverpool won 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
And that's hardly brought competition to table, has it? Because they don't. Oh, just don't get it.
And then one
Just
of games
throw
ended
it.
9-0 other week. It's just.
I don't know.
But anyway, before we be descending to us sounding like we're just being miserable and whinging as always,
No.
Formula One ends today, the final race
No.
of
It is
2024.
the end of everything as we know it.
Well, it's the end of the Lewis Hamilton Mercedes era, and I think he can't actually wait. He's
I think
liable
that
to park
ended
up at Slam
yesterday,
One.
mate, when he decided to. Well, to be fair to him, he did get a bit of bad luck, but you kind of just think that he didn't really seem bothered either way, did he?
No, he doesn't care. He's just like, I'll just let me leave. I wouldn't be surprised if he just literally turns left off the start line and puts it in a wall and says, "I'm done. I'm going home." Can't be asked.
I mean, he tried to park it up last week, didn't he?
Yeah, which they had a
And
massive argument about, which was
they
brilliant.
didn't let him. And then they said he could park it up, and then he decided not to park it up. Is that pretty much how it went down?
So he said, "I want to retire the car." They said, "No, you can't." They served the penalty. They said, "Right, you can now retire the car." And he said, "No, I don't want to." Can't even agree on retiring.
The only thing is, it's because it's been announced for so long, and I said this the other week about the transfer window in Formula 1 was just a stupid time. It's almost souring his legacy, isn't it? Now
A little bit,
it's
yeah.
almost,
It's beginning to look
it's just,
silly.
if he does something today where he don't finish well, I mean, Toto Wolff had a little dig at him yesterday, didn't he? And you kind of just think it's just not being played out very well, has it? It's almost.
No.
I know Mercedes and Ferrari can't help this stupid thing where they start signing drivers with 12 races to go, but it just seems I just don't know why drivers just don't transfer to the end of the season and then they've got 8 weeks to decide where they're going to race next year. I just don't know why they just don't or do it at the end of the season.
I think a lot of it's to do with you've got commercial contracts, you've got sponsors, you've got shareholders, you've got forward plans you've got to make. So I get why it's a complicated thing, but this one's just
diminishing the quality of your sport, though, aren't you? By basically having people. I mean, Carlos Sainz has been leaving since about the same time, obviously at the same time, because they knew Hamilton would. So you got 2 drivers in the top 4 teams there who basically had finished the season at fucking, what were it? Italy?
Before it
somewhere?
started. They knew
It's
in
like,
January.
so that's, I mean, it's like, that's just a total. These are the top teams. It's not like it were Williams, who no one gives a shit about because no one's going to be able to that. These are 2 of the top teams almost not competing because they've got drivers there who don't want to be there anymore.
Yeah. So it's been a.
Lewis Hamilton just dropped off a cliff, hasn't he? I mean, literally. He's just. I mean,
which we said last week, to be fair, but
he's got to come back next season fighting, hasn't he? We're new.
But the season's ending in a weird way of petulance at this point. You've got Russell arguing with Max. You've got Charles complaining that there was car parked in the pit lane yesterday. You've got drivers Lawson saying, "Oh, he's held me," and it's just all getting very childish. If I'm honest,
They've brought this on themselves, haven't they? With these stupid penalties that 1 week are penalties, the next week are not penalties. People are getting aggrieved because one guy gets one treatment and another guy gets another treatment. There's no consistency in what they're doing, so everyone's now moaning about everything, hoping to get somebody else penalised. I mean, what was that all about yesterday? When you'll probably know this better than me. So at turn 1, people getting lap times deleted. Do lap times get deleted automatically, or does somebody look at it and then delete it?
So they've changed it now. There used to be a sensor in the road, but now they've put in static cameras to make it more efficient. And on first review, they deleted all of them. And then actually somebody said, "Can you have a relook at that because it looks tight?" And when they did, that's what they saw.
So a guy looked at it, said he was out of the line of the track. A guy looked at it again and then decided he was inside the track.
Yes, pretty much.
I mean,
But they
'cause
got
it's
them
not.
all right, to be fair.
Yeah, but should they have not got them right at the start? Is that not the idea of the fucking? Why rush?
True. You've,
Why not
in a
look at
sense,
it?
you've got to rush though, because obviously you've only got 12 minutes to do the session, or 15 if it's Q1.
Yeah, you
So
have, but
you've got
the
to let them
guy,
know as quick
the
as you
guy's at
can.
turn one, so he's got another minute and a half to get all the way around the track, and then another 2 minutes to get round back to the pits before he needs to know what he's doing. So you've got three
True, yeah.
minutes to look at some still images of what turned out to be about 4 cars. Get it right.
Yeah, well, there were Leclerc, Perez,
With Perez,
and Piastri.
Leclerc. Get it right.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we've gone back. I've gone back to what I've said, keep saying a million times: creating a rule and then allowing people to appeal the rule. Get it right. There's no appeals. Once I give my decision, that's my decision. If I get it wrong, I have to stand up and be accountable for it. But everyone then just starts appealing everything. So then he's got twice as much work to do.
Yeah, and that's, like you said, that's what the FIA have caused. We've descended into utter carnage at the end of this season. You've got the president of the FIA who's now trying to change the rules so he can't be scrutinised, because obviously the Grand Prix Drivers Association put out that statement about where's the money going from all these fines, what are we doing with it. He's basically told them to shut up and go away, concentrate on driving, and he now wants to change the ethics committee so they basically have less involvement in anything he does.
Which sounds dodgy as hell, doesn't it? Basically,
Absolutely.
like, I've been
Literally.
siphoning the money out, and now you've twigged onto it, so I'll change the rules so that no one knows where it's going.
Yes, you're not allowed to look at what I'm doing. The guy's, it's quite concerning how dictatorial this guy is that's in charge right now. He can't, the FIA rules don't allow him to be ousted until the next election. There's currently nobody due to oppose him, so he'll run unopposed, so he'll be elected
I'd
again.
like fee for this.
He's changing the rules so he can't be looked at. He's telling drivers to shut up and go away.
What's he called?
Keeps referring.
Vladimir Putin.
The annoying bit to all the drivers, he keeps referring himself to a driver as a driver. I know what the drivers think, I'm a driver. He won some South Asian rally championship or something. He's not a driver. He hasn't got a bloody clue. The man is just a tin pot dictator at this point that's literally just ignoring anything with any common sense, firing anybody who
How
disagrees
has
with
he
him.
got involved then? How has he become
He was
a
elected,
leader?
so the president of the FIA is elected every so many years. He won the last election and he's about to stand unopposed. So he's just doing whatever he wants.
So somebody that's been elected is now not doing what they said they would do and is full of shit.
Yes.
And we're surprised. Well, that's their own fault for listening to him, isn't it? Then? Because
But yeah,
one thing we've learned over the last few years, if somebody says something during an election, it's 99.9% bullshit. So there you go.
but
No
the
names.
thing is, though, if he's not careful and keeps pushing it the way he is, you will end up with a driver revolt, or you'll end up with a split. Formula One will break away from the FIA. It's been,
See, it's different to football, isn't it? Because you've only got 22 drivers.
yes,
Not all footballers are going to down tools and go, because you'd have to bring the Premier League to a
millions.
standstill. You'd have to bring 200 or 300 players into it who all don't get involved. You've only got to get half a
20
dozen,
people.
8,
Yeah.
10, even 10. And the sport's just it's done. I mean, if the top teams suddenly decide tomorrow that they've had enough for him, or today, and they don't take to the grid, the sport's done.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Nobody's going to watch Williams and Kick and others drive around. No one's going to watch that sport, because that's not a sport that entertains nobody. That's just a destruction derby, and you can watch that for cheaper. That's free on Sky. You don't have to pay 30 quid a month. So he's literally 8 drives away from having a total chaos on his hands, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure they've got the balls to do it, or but it could happen.
Kind of hope they do, because if he keeps pushing things like this, I mean, the statement the drivers put out, which was, to be fair, very well written, because it was George Russell and he's very good at PR things, and he basically just didn't answer them and just said they need to shut up and keep their nose out. Oh, right, okay, that's helpful.
But I couldn't appreciate that if that's the way he governed the sport all the way through. But you're allowed to appeal whether a car's on or off the track.
Different though, because one's stewards and one's the president. The steward, there is a disconnect there, because
Well, it works for him, surely.
he likes to be the front man. He likes to be seen, go and shake the driver's hands, and I'm doing all this, I'm doing all that. But then also wants to be this weird kind of control freak who then sits there saying the FIA doesn't get the credit it deserves, and F1, because it's a separate company, should pay us more money that I can hide.
Doesn't get the credit it deserves. It doesn't get the piss took out of it enough. That's what it doesn't get. What an absolute
It doesn't get the
farce.
credit it deserves because it doesn't deserve any. That's the problem he's missing.
I mean, it's no
just
coincidence that the
a shit
FIA has
show.
got the same letters in it as the FA, is it? They're both a shit show, aren't they?
I mean, last week was a prime example. Obviously, we went off air before the Qatar Grand Prix
I wondered if
happened,
we were going to get to this. What?
and I don't get how. And bear in mind, this isn't the FIA. This is it is. It's the race director. What did he think was going to happen to that wing mirror? Did he just think it would disappear eventually?
I think he thought he got a DeLorean and we're going to go back to the future and he could rewind time and move it. Because I'm not sure how. I just don't know what he was thinking. It can't disappear. It's not going to blow away, is it? You know, it's not be a gust of wind. It's not a carrier bag that's just going to get carried away. It either got run over or it stayed there. And in the end, he put double wave gels out. Okay, you can't be instinctive. You just got to make sure that it lands somewhere. Right, it's landed on the track. Right, that's fine. Is it somewhere I can access it without anything? No, right. Double wave gel is out. Fine. Within a lap, he should have decided that that's a danger. I mean, was it who got the thing to the head? Was it Massa? You know, have we not learned from the past? Things on tracks generally hit wheels and then hit other things. That's how the law of physics kind of works.
Yeah.
Why is it? At what point? I sat there watching it, and I'm far from, knowing all the rules of F1 or understanding all the ins and outs of it, and thinking I know nothing about F1, and even I know that that's dangerous. We need to do something here.
And do you know what the FIA's response to it was afterwards? Because they put out a statement. Everything we did was perfect and correct.
In what way? Everything they did was wrong. Everything.
From start to finish, it was wrong.
I mean, where did the wing mirror come from for a start? Because no one ever mentioned. Oh,
Williams.
Oh, that's a surprise. I'm surprised there weren't more bits.
It just fell off.
Wing mirror, a wing, a wheel, a driver. Look at those bits everywhere. Just carry on. It's all right.
But the bit I didn't understand is it was in the only overtaking zone of that whole track.
Yeah.
And then the bit that really bugged me now, Norris got a penalty.
The proper overtaking zone. So the bit where you're about to pull out at speed and decide to jump on the brakes. It was right at the end. It wasn't at the start where you didn't need to be out there. If you're going to overtake, you've got to be where Bottas. I mean, he weren't overtaking in the end, where he was just trying to get out of the way. But
yeah,
it's literally, like you said, the only place where anyone could overtake.
And the other bit that really annoyed me now, Norris got a penalty for stop-go penalty for not slowing down under double yellows. Fine, I get that. He's driven unsafely. That is perfectly fine. However, the issue I had with it was you've penalised a driver for being unsafe while being unsafe yourself for letting him drive on the track.
One of the commentators said, well, he hasn't slowed down. He says, well, there's everyone else. And he went, well, it doesn't matter. I'm like, well, yes, it does matter because everyone used the same penalty then.
Well, Piastri had got his DRS open on that straight and he got away with it.
This is the thing, isn't it? I don't care whether they get a 20-second penalty or a 10-minute penalty, as long as everybody gets the same. If you all break the same law, you all get the same penalty.
But and you're right. But the bit that I just found it so hypocritical to penalise Norris for saying you're being unsafe while we as a governing body are being unsafe and not bringing out a safety car when there's a piece of a huge lump.
It's Norris's fault for not slowing down, but it's not Norris's fault there's a piece of wing mirror on the track for 3 laps while nobody's doing anything about it.
It was ridiculous. I was talking about should they have thrown a VSC? Well, no, because you can't.
Science got a punch. Yeah, he's saying you're not going to put a guy who's going to run on a track when there's these lunatics. I mean, you've got people like Zhao and that other lunatic just don't know what they're going to do, do you? I mean,
No.
Stroll can crash on a warm-up lap. What's he going to do going down a straight? I mean, Jesus, who's going to run out there? I'd rather run in front of a bus.
But yeah, that was just all a mess. I mean,
Who
the
got the
race.
punctures? Hamilton and Sainz.
Yeah, but Mercedes have said they're not convinced Hamilton's was anything to do with debris. But there's nothing confirmed yet.
I just don't want to pay him for last race. You're that idiot.
Hamilton just didn't want to drive, so he knifed his own tyre from
He drove over it on purpose.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, the race itself was terrible. Until we got to Wing Mirror Gate and carnage and safety cars and other nonsense of people then just falling off the road, that track is terrible. It's just dull.
Yeah,
it doesn't promote racing.
It's one of these modern tracks again, isn't it? Where they're just, I don't know, there's not enough jeopardy to the track.
It's a motorbike track historically, Losail. Because what is the one thing in F1 you need to make overtakes? A braking zone. Guess how many Qatar's got? One.
At the end of the straight.
Where there was a wing mirror in the way. It doesn't work.
Yeah. The best tracks usually have a couple of braking zones close together, which allows you to concertina up. And then if you've got a braking zone, and then a DRS, and then a braking zone, it sort of allows you to close up and then use the DRS to then move in. This one was just basically a long straight with a DRS. So all everyone was doing is saving the battery, batterying it down straight to stay in front of everybody. And it just didn't work. How long? Yeah, we've been racing that track a while, because when tracks, no one get there and he does like the pan round. I'm looking at the track thinking, I don't fucking remember this track.
Came in 20. Let me get this right. I think it came in 2021, missed 22, and came back 23, 24, if I remember rightly.
No, it didn't look like a track that I'd seen before. I always try and picture like when you play an F1 game or something.
Yeah.
Oh, I can remember this bit. And I'm thinking, this track is this even a real track?
The thing was that it was meant to be a temporary track, and Qatar was going to build a new street track to have its own proper race. And it looks like they've abandoned that and just said, oh, Soji, you can just go there and it'd be crap.
We definitely don't need another street track.
No, we don't, but we'll get more. Because the cities are paying big. And it's becoming harder for private racetracks to fund them. So it's easier to get funding for cities.
Yeah,
you've got, because obviously the Dutch Grand Prix announced that that's now gone after 26, so that's doing the next 2 years, and that's gone because they can't fund it, because them and Silverstone are the only privately funded racetracks now.
Holland's not a great racetrack, is it? I mean,
no, it's crap. It's awful.
It's not. It's too narrow and it's too.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's a historic track and it's got some character, but it's got the problems that the likes of Imola have got. And I love Imola. I love that racetrack, but it's too narrow now.
They don't race around there.
It's too small. And Zandvoort was brought in my opinion, for the wrong reason. It was brought in because Max was at the prominence of the front of the sport, so it was give him a Dutch Grand Prix.
Trying to
capitalize on the driver. It's not the right way to build a calendar. We've got Colapinto in now from Argentina. Do we all of a sudden just chuck an Argentinian racetrack on just for the fun of it? No. Build it properly. Plan your calendar properly.
Yeah, they need to be proper tracks again. Like we said the other week, some of the tracks that they've now taken off the calendar were actually good racetracks and have gone in favour of things like these street tracks and these wide open. I mean, France was the same, wasn't it? I mean, you couldn't crash at France. You needed Eurotunnel to find a barrier to it, didn't you? It was that far away from.
I hated that track.
And how many variations of the track were there? I mean, I'm not being funny. Even I used to drive around it thinking, I don't know if I'm going left or right. The track bits everywhere, coloured stripes and all sorts.
It looks like a 6-year-old coloured it in. Yeah. And it's just, it hurts
like
to watch that
track. When you've not quite finished it, and there's bits of track everywhere. You need a left turn, but you've only got a right, so you just stuck it in anyway. It's like, who designed this fucking track? There's just no jeopardy to them. I mean, they're now all talking about, when they were talking about Perez and then being off the line, putting a gravel trap in just next to it. And I'm like, why didn't they fucking design it like that in the first place? Why have we had to race around it for the last 10 years to figure out that it's no longer any good?
We went away from that concept because I think they decided at one point that having bigger runoffs was safer. So you've got time to slow, bring the car to a more natural stop than it bouncing into gravel and potentially pitching, rolling, whatever they could do. It happened in a few years ago in Japan. I think it was Daniel Kvyat. He pitched into the gravel and it barrel rolled. So stuff like that, I could see why you might potentially do it. The little strips of gravel are a great idea because all of that yesterday then doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen.
Because they
And
did it in Austria this year. It worked brilliantly.
Yeah, and it changed the game, changed the race.
Because I think 2023 Austria, we'd had 1,400 laps deleted. I think it was down to less than 100 this time. It made a massive difference just by putting a meter wide piece of gravel in. Don't run over it. Simple. Or even if you don't want to use gravel because that's quite expensive to maintain, apparently, even though it's only sand, but let's not get into that one. Just something.
Find that in guitar, wouldn't you?
Dig a hole. Make it so that.
Just get Rotherham Council to come and tarmac it. There'll be loads of potholes and they'll not run over it.
Just do something to make it so people don't go out there. Problem solved.
Yeah, that's what it needs. Put some of that AstroTurf down that moves and fucks everybody up when they spin a wheel on it. It's car behind. Yeah, all these wide runoff tracks are just stupid. And then they moan that the people have gone out there. And I'm like, well, of course they're going to go out there. Why wouldn't they go out there?
Exactly. And a Formula One driver's only going out there for one reason. If it wasn't quicker, they wouldn't be there. Simple as that. Oh. But then you've got people saying, "Oh, we should stop policing track limits. It's getting ridiculous. We're looking at millimeters." Well, that's like saying you should stop policing the goal line in football.
Take the white line off the edge of the track then, and just let them run wherever they want. What's the point in the line at the edge of the track if it doesn't mean anything?
Exactly. That's like saying take the lines at the edge of a football pitch. Stop looking whether it's gone out of play and just let them run it round.
On grid at start and just say whoever gets back to this point fastest is winning. Don't matter how you do it. Go any corner you want. It's not a track then, is it? It's just a free for all. Like running out of supermarket. Fucking idiot. Who says this shit? Just they want deleting.
The amount of people that were saying it yesterday, oh, it's ridiculous looking at these white lines. Like, well, you have to define the track.
Of course you do. Otherwise, I mean, why don't you just go as wide as you want and not brake? Just go all the way off. Why even bother braking for corner? Just carry it speed all the way around like it's an IndyCar track.
Can you imagine it at Monza at first chicane, just miss it and just driving a straight line? Just keep going.
What about it? First guy knocks out bollards, that smashes them to pieces. Second guy's got a free run straight through. I mean, that straight then goes all the way around to turn 4. Laughing.
You could skip that one as well. Turn 5 would be first real corner.
Fucking unbelievable, aren't they? Absolute morons. We need stricter track limits so that they stay on the track. And stricter punishments for running off the track because it's cheating, basically.
What they actual need is natural track limits. So do away with all these curbs and just put grass and gravel. It only has to be a metre wide. A metre wide would be fine all the way around every corner. And guess what? All of a sudden, every car will be able to stay within the track.
Of course it would, yeah. Because
quite easily.
These are the most elite drivers in the world, and they can put these cars in a millimetre of each other, yet they can't stay on track.
Yeah, funny that, isn't it?
That's 40 foot wide.
They need 41 every time. And if you make it 41 feet wide, they'd use 42. They will use every bit they're given. So you either put a solid wall and kill all the drivers, or you just put some sand there.
Well, they don't run wide when there's someone run into the wall, Lance Stroll and most at Williams, but that's just a lack of talent, not the trying to go any faster.
Do you know how many crashes Williams have had this year?
I would say it's in double figures.
16.
16 crashes? In 20 races, 21 races?
23. Not all of them their fault, but they've been involved in 16 accidents this year. Which is...
I mean, I would question which ones weren't their fault because they tend to get themselves into
it. Qatar wasn't their fault because Magnussen decided to barrel roll into turn 1 and kill everybody. But funny enough, didn't get a penalty.
No, that's not illegal. That's fine. That's not a problem.
Wiped 3 cars out, but it didn't matter.
Yeah, that's not a problem. No, but swearing, oof, don't do that. I bet he swore when he crashed. I bet there were some folks coming out then. Did he get a fine? Hold on a minute.
No, because he swore in the car, so that's fine. You can swear. You're allowed to swear in your car, just not in a press conference.
You're allowed to swear. You're allowed to swear in your car, which is live on TV.
Yes.
But the press conferences, which they can tape delay, no, can't swear in that.
Exactly.
Oh, nobody watches anyway. I mean, nobody.
No.
Nobody ever watches them. I don't even know why they're doing them. Or was it? It's literally a press conference. It's for the press to write a story. Nobody's putting telling, oh, press conferences are on. Don't want to miss these. These are gold.
I don't actually think they're even televised. I don't think you can watch them.
I don't know. I always thought you could, but I mean, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't care.
I've never
I wouldn't
tried, but I don't think it's a thing you can do.
Brilliant.
But yeah, so it's all mind blowing.
So what's happening today then? Why's Ocon gone?
Where's he gone?
Yeah.
Decided he weren't racing this. So he was contracted with Alpine up to the end of the season, but his contract ran beyond what would be the not the winter test, the end of season test in Abu Dhabi. So what they said to him was, if you want to drive that, you've got to back out of your contract now, so we can put Jack Doohan in the car, so you can go to Haas and go and do the post-season test.
Oh, because he's going to Haas. He wants to test with Haas next weekend.
Yes.
Why do we? Is this not having a pre-season friendly at the end of a long season? Why do we test a car a week after we finish the season?
So this is usually the young driver test. So at the end of the season, the younger drivers or rookies get to go in a car, but Ocon's doing it and Sainz is doing it. So not quite.
Right. And what do the young drivers get to do?
Drive around a track in a Formula One car.
Well, they get 3 opportunities to do that during the season. Why do they need an extra one? Or why don't we just give them an extra one during the season? I thought we were being sustainable.
That's logical.
So now we're going to fly all the way to another country. I know it's
but they're already there because of F2, most of them.
They're already there for F2. Why is that?
They're already there. It's in Abu Dhabi where we're doing the race. Everybody just stays for another week.
All right. Oh, that sounds cheap.
Young driver test, or whatever they want to call it.
There's not many people in the team to put up in an hotel, is there? Or feed? Or, I mean, that's caviar sandwiches for Red Bull for another week. I mean, how much is that going to cost them?
But the idea is in future, this will go away and they'll do a post-season sprint race.
What? So another race. So we've just had 23 races and we're going to have another race.
But this will only be for rookies.
Like Sainz and Stroll.
Yes.
And people that crash a lot, all the Williams drivers. I mean, what do you class as a rookie then? Somebody who's not in Formula One?
Somebody who's done less than 3 Formula One Grand Prix is considered a rookie. So Lawson can't do it. Colapinto now can't do it. But Antonelli will. Antonelli will be in it. Doohan will be in it. Bortoletto, who's just won the F2 championship today, will be in it because he's going to drive a skip next year, the green skip, Illuminous thing.
That was on provisional poll momentarily yesterday somehow.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Did he finish 4th, Bottas?
No, Bottas is 8th, 9th. He beat Perez.
Did he? Fucking hell.
Who has said, and I quote, I will be on the grid at Red Bull next season. He's just ignoring it.
You won't. You won't.
It's going to be one of them. They're going to fire him and he's just going to turn up. He's just going to say, I'm not fired.
Where I used to work, we once had a guy like that and he got sacked multiple times, just came back next morning and carried on working.
That's Perez.
It's just going to keep coming back.
I mean, apparently the rumour is they offered him the solution of jump before you pushed, and he's refused. He's just going to say, no, I'm still here.
Well, he's not going to commit suicide, is he?
They're literally going to force them to sack him.
But he'll get paid, won't he, if they sack him?
Well, yeah, because he's got... Well, it depends, because he's technically in breach of contract.
What about being shit?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, Man United are fucked then. They're all in breach of contract. Just get rid of them all. We can have a clear
There was apparently a stipulation in Perez's contract that if he fell out behind more than 100 points behind behind Max, they could break the contract. He's about 400
races in, wasn't it? That happened at Miami. He's never caught
up. I mean, they'll give him some severance package, but he's got to go. I mean, he made Q3 yesterday on a stroke of luck that Leclerc's lap got deleted, but in Q3 he got beaten by a green tractor.
Yeah.
So I don't...
I mean, at no point recently has he done anything where you go, oh, he's putting a good lap, or he's done. I mean, you mentioned the overtake he did the other week in Brazil, and it was like, well, for 14th or something.
At Vegas, he got to 9th, passing a
That's what I mean. I mean,
Alpha Tauri and a Williams or something.
that's a damning incitement of where somebody is when you overtake him for ninth in what's technically been the lead car all year.
I mean, he's had one good race in 9 months, Baku, which he then ended in a wall. So it wasn't really a good race. 99% of it was good.
It was like a Southgate good race then.
Yeah, we're nearly
He
there.
got to the semi-final and lost, basically. Or he got to the final and lost.
Yeah.
Well
Other
done.
than that, I don't think he's been good since China or something, which seems a long time ago now. It was about
Yes.
April.
He has been rubbish. Did you, talking of rubbish, did you what Lonzo said about his car?
It's the worst car he's ever driven. It's horrendous. It's just
Merry Christmas, lads. I mean,
this is crap.
This is the worst car I have ever driven. Like, and he must have driven some pretty bad ones at some times.
He drove a McLaren Honda that had got a GP2 engine.
Yeah, I mean, he's literally not done well there, has he?
But having said that, Max has also said the same about his car. He's literally said, once the season's done, put it in the museum and never touch it ever again. Lewis hates his car.
I think Lewis just hates
obviously.
life at the minute, doesn't he?
So, I mean, the Saubers are skip, so that needs to get in the bin. The Williams is in bits already, so that's quite easy to bin. So most of this year's cars are just going to be scrap.
Yeah, Williams is like in a recycle bin. All they needed guy to come and pick it up, don't they? I mean,
yeah.
I might imagine parts they've thrown away this year.
But there's no wonder they've not been able to improve the car because all of the money has literally gone on rebuilding the car repeatedly.
I mean, they've gone an entire 12 months almost, and all they've got is the same thing they started with, just a lot of dints and bends in it. And a lot less of it.
They might even end the year with the same drivers that they started with.
So, what do you think Hamilton next year
then? I think if the car doesn't suit him straight out of the box, which it's highly unlikely that it will, I don't see it going well for him.
I tend to agree with that. I just don't.
I think Leclerc's too good in qualifying regardless. Leclerc will beat him in qualifying, and that's an acceptable form of the fact that Lewis is 40 years old. Leclerc is one of the fastest over one lap on the whole grid. Lewis will lost a couple of tenths in pace now because of his age. But I just think he's so emotional with the way he drives and performs. If that car doesn't suit him, he'll instantly switch off. And he'll instantly get down. He'll instantly get fed up. And it's a 2-year contract. If next year is as bad as it potentially could be, I'm not saying it will be, but could be, I think there's a chance it doesn't go beyond a year with him and he just says, I've had enough. I'm done.
Should he have just parked it after Mercedes? I know he always wants to drive for Ferrari, didn't he? So it's probably sentimental reasons more than...
If I'm honest, he should have parked it after 21.
I think that would have been difficult, though, because he felt so aggrieved that he thought he could come back and...
He did, but if you look at it, he'd have been probably right to say, fuck you, I'm done. I'm walking away from this nonsense.
Yeah.
I'm done with it all.
Wish we'd had a podcast in 2021, although I'm not sure I could have recorded one back then. But...
And I think if you look at some of the statements that came out at the time and post him saying he was coming back, I think he was close to saying he was done. And I think he would have been well within his rights to do so.
I don't think you could have blamed him if he did, because
no,
it was a massive. It wasn't an injustice that cost him 10 points. It was an injustice that cost him a year's worth of work and a world title that he deserved,
and a record.
He's
already statistically the greatest driver of all time, but Schumacher's 7 drivers' world titles has always been up there as one of the records that could never be touched. It was never going to be beaten, and he was about 12 minutes away from doing it, and then, that happened. But next year, I think it all depends how it starts. If he gets in the car and feels comfortable, that spark will come back. His race pace has still been good, but that 1 lap pace might start to come back, so he'll start to feel connected to the car again. But I just don't see it.
That's almost not going to work over a season, is it? Because you're going to have highs and lows through the season. If you're going to, basically, referring to Man United, if you're going to fold as soon as it starts to go bad, you're just never going to succeed, are you, through the season? Because it's never going to go your way all the whole way.
No, and historically you wouldn't have said. I mean, if we look back at 21, there were ebbs and flows in that season where it went against him, but he came back. But there's something changing when now, as soon as, I mean, Vegas, he was brilliant,
Yeah.
quick, he was on it, he was the fastest man on the track. We got to Qatar and all of a sudden, I'm terrible, I'm slow, I can't do this anymore, it's all a mess. So to
Mhm.
flip that quickly, it says to me,
Then he said really good things about the car this week, hasn't he? And said how good the car felt this weekend,
yeah,
and he's kind of come back up again to then go and and I don't know what would have happened. Maybe he could have scraped through if he'd not got that bollard underneath him, and he may have got into the next. But he's gone up, and we're coming back down again, aren't we?
yeah.
Type roller coaster approach to how he's doing things.
Yeah, and I think now today it's just going to be. It depends. He might go out and try and have some fun with it and just go aggressive and put on soft tyres to start with and just go and attack like crazy and end up in a hedge with Colapinto. Who knows? We've got sort of 25 minutes before
Well,
everybody gets on
if
the
I were
grid.
him, I mean, not that he can catch Max, but if Max starts to overtake him for a lap, just repay him for 2021. Pop him one. What's all? So, what do you make of the George and Max thing then? Before we,
It's pathetic. It's absolutely childish. Grow up. George has gone running into the steward's room apparently. Oh my God, it was so dangerous. It was so. No, no, no. Yes, he blocks you a little bit, but stop whining, all of you.
they're all after it, aren't
Literally.
they?
I mean,
I mean,
you've got
if
Charles
he had
Leclerc
that
yesterday.
attitude on the track, we'd have a chance of winning something. As in, not the whining attitude, but if he was willing to fight this much on a track rather than fight in a steward's room, we might have
I'm
something we can
sick
compete with.
of it. I said, Charles, yesterday there were a car, they were all lining up to come out onto qualifying. There was literally a car parked to his right hand side. He went, oh, the Alpha Tauri
Oh,
was over the limit. They're like, he
he
wasn't
came over
moving.
the first white line by about a millimetre. I mean, he was
Yeah.
never going to crash into him.
And he was
Charles Leclerc
parked.
turned left like he were like a fucking, I don't know what, like he were going onto another runway. Like he were, I was like,
But they're
these
all
guys meant to
at
have
it.
the fastest reactions in the world. He reacted that slow to it. It was like almost deliberate that he did it.
Yeah, it's deliberate to make out a
Look
point of,
for
oh, look what this guy's done to me. And I'm just bored of it. I'm bored of George Russell whining. I'm bored of Max being just arrogant and rude. I'm bored of Charles whining. I'm bored of Lewis being either hysterical or manic depressive. They all need a break because if not, we're all going to have a breakdown.
Yeah, I think the season's coming to an end probably about 3 weeks too late.
Yeah. Which, funny
Maybe
enough, we could have
20
ended it 3
rounds.
weeks earlier if we didn't have 48 weeks of breaks in the last 3 months,
Yeah,
where
I
we've all
mean,
had a winter break,
well,
an
that is the
autumn break,
longest
and
season ever. So, well, everything would be longer if you just kept throwing 4 week breaks into it. The longest football season ever if we had like 4 breaks of 4 weeks
yeah,
because it'd be 2 years long. I mean, of course it is. Stop fucking breaking.
yeah. But yeah,
Stop
I
flying
think,
to America, flying home for 4 weeks and flying back to America.
and unfortunately, obviously, Leclerc's got a 10th place grid penalty, so the constructors' battle that was pretty slim anyway. Let's be honest, he's now
I,
dead.
I must admit, right, in the years I've watched Formula One, I've never been at all concerned about where the constructors' title's going. It's never really crossed my mind. Seem to be making a massive deal out of it this year because there's nothing else to play for.
Well, I think there's two very good
I mean,
reasons why they're making a big deal out
I
of it
don't
this year.
know who's won the constructors' title. If you obviously Red Bull have won it, but if you go back historically, I couldn't tell you who's won them, even when I know who's won the title. I've no fucking
You can
idea.
usually it's an educated guess that your driver
Go for the
picked the team
title.
that he drives for. Is a
I mean,
reasonable rule of thumb.
it's just become such a massive thing today. This massive title fight, and I'm like, really, anyone care other than the people that own the teams?
I said there's two reasons why it's a big thing this year. One, the driver's title's already dead and buried and was months ago. And
My
it's the two teams that it involves. Ferrari have not won anything in 20 years. McLaren have not won anything in nearly 30 years as a constructor. It's
so it's like
1998.
Arsenal v Everton. Then
Yeah, it's 1998 since McLaren won a constructor's title. It's
I get
2008
that, but it's
since
it's more
Ferrari
of an
did.
internal thing, isn't it? I can't imagine many fans. Do the fans take to it? Is it something
The
the
fans
fans?
have taken to it because it's been forced down the throats, I think, at this point.
That's what
And
I'm
if
saying. It's been forced down mine because every time I turn the TV on, all they're talking about is this epic constructors battle. And I thought that's 20 years. I don't remember anyone going on about the constructors so vividly. It's
And
just
the
seems
other
to be.
reason is otherwise we'd be coming into today's race and just going, it's pointless, everything's over, let's all go home. They've got to have something to
fine.
make people watch.
I mean, but it's not making me watch it. I'm not like, oh, you know, who's gonna win? That's, you know, it's not even. I couldn't care less who wins. To be fair, I mean, none of them are English anymore. It's not like it's an English team anymore. They're all owned by God knows who. So, you know, do people have an affiliation to a team? Like you had affiliation to drivers normally. I don't know. Is that just me?
I'm quite happy to see either of the two teams win. Ferrari, because it's, you know, they're a historic team, and so are McLaren.
Thanks for clearing that up.
I still have an affinity for Williams just because of when we were growing up as
Well,
kids.
they're fucking not winning it.
But yeah, so yeah, there is still that out there for teams, just because usually based on the history of them. I don't care about Sauber because they've had 14 different names, 12 different colours, and 100 drivers, and I couldn't name you half of them. I don't care about Minardi, Alpha Tauri, V-Carb, Red Bull Racing, whatever that's called. I don't care
All
about
these
them.
newbies that are coming in under different brands.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's because it's two historic teams of why they're pushing it. So, you know, but unfortunately, it's not. It's going to be a non-event now. You've got McLaren 1-2, and Leclerc's starting 27th, I think. I think he has to start in Qatar.
Science doesn't give a shit.
4th, 5th, somewhere around there, but he can't do it on his own.
His helmet than actually practicing driving, I think, by the looks of it. So yeah, so that's it then. The last one.
It is, and I think for this week we probably ought to say that that's a wrap for an episode. So thank you very much, and we'll speak to you again soon.
Bye bye.